Godzilla, the king of all the monsters. And if there's one kaiju that's always gonna reign supreme over all the others, well, it's gonna be him. But there have been plenty of different versions and incarnations of Godzilla over the years. And if all of them can claim the title of King of the Monsters, well, who's the King of the Kings? Who's the most powerful version of Godzilla? Well, today, that's what we're gonna find out. Let's rank each and every version of Godzilla from weakest to strongest. What's up, guys? I'm Daniel and this is DanCo. We do fight breakdowns every week, plus the occasional power ranking video like this one or things like that. So if that seems interesting to you, we'll sit back and enjoy the video. Hit that like button. If you want to, well, hit the subscribe button while you're at it. Now let's get to it. In 1954, Godzilla stepped out onto the island of Japan and changed the world and pop culture forever. Unfortunately for our purposes here, he's also the least powerful version of the big lizard. He was able to easily destroy cities, pretty much nothing could stand in his way. But this Godzilla also never fought against other big kaiju. So really the only thing we can compare him against is the military. His atomic breath is nice, but a lot of other Godzillas have more powerful attacks, and he was ultimately killed by the Oxygen Destroyer, something that a lot of other Godzillas have survived before. Sure, Zilla might not technically be a true Godzilla, just another kaiju mistaken for the king of the monsters, but it's close enough to where he still makes the list. Zilla is pretty powerful. He can easily tear through skyscrapers and is durable enough to take a lot of attacks from the military. But the greatest thing he has going for him is speed. Zilla is incredibly fast, like dodging missiles coming straight towards him kinda fast. He's also really great at tunneling, meaning that Zilla can pretty much instantly disappear in plain sight. However, Zilla doesn't have a true atomic breath like the real Godzilla, and he's not really all that tough either, all why he ends up so low on the list. While Godzilla Junior might have started out as just a baby hatched from an egg, he eventually grew up into an adorable little Godzilla. Over the years, Godzilla Junior would then absorb enough radiation to where he grew and grew, turning into basically teenage Godzilla. And while not as powerful as his dad, Godzilla Jr. was still pretty powerful and formidable. He held his own against Destroya, was even able to successfully drive Destroya off at first. However, then Destroya then evolved into a stronger form, was able to fatally injure Junior. But that wasn't the end of his story. Soon after Godzilla himself died, Godzilla Jr. absorbed all that radiation into himself, became the new, fully grown Godzilla. Like pretty much every other version of Godzilla, this big guy was basically a prehistoric dinosaur swimming around in the ocean, until one day he was horribly mutated and transformed by a nuclear bomb, becoming Godzilla. He's incredibly strong and powerful, but the best thing going for this version of Godzilla is his durability and regeneration. In fact, what sets this Godzilla apart is his incredibly advanced cellular regeneration. It's his healing factor. Godzilla's entire body can be destroyed and he'll still regenerate from just a small piece of flesh left over. And of course, this Godzilla has a pretty nasty atomic breath too. This beam will generate an extremely powerful explosion whenever it hits its target, creating a mushroom cloud like an atomic bomb, and leave behind a massive crater and powerful shockwaves that level everything for miles around. In fact, Godzilla's atomic breath is so powerful that it can actually injure Godzilla too. It burns his face and forces him to regenerate and heal before he's able to use the atomic breath again. Showa Godzilla is basically a continuation of Godzilla from the 1954 movie, created by nuclear weapons, starting out as a villain to humans, but then ultimately becoming a hero for all of mankind against a whole bunch of other monsters. And man, Showa Godzilla was able to dominate a lot of these monsters, throwing around a kaiju that weigh tens of thousands of tons like it was nothing, ripping them apart with ease. He's also incredibly tough, able to take attacks that could destroy mountains, and his atomic breath is seriously powerful and unique as well. Godzilla can even fly around with just his atomic breath. That's just crazy. Zilla Junior is a version of Zilla that was hatched out of an egg at the end of the movie. And let me tell you, Junior is way more powerful. Coming in at 60,000 tons, Zilla Junior is strong enough and powerful enough to easily overpower pretty much every other monster that crossed his path, even though those monsters weigh tens of thousands of tons as well. He's incredibly tough, can take pretty much every attack that comes his way, he's lightning fast, and has a pretty good knack for burrowing in order to either avoid trouble or quickly surprise enemies. Plus, while he doesn't have an atomic blast, he does have power breath, which is basically the same thing. Zilla Junior has all the same abilities as Zilla himself, except to a much greater degree, which is how he ended up here on the list instead of near the bottom. This unique twist on Godzilla is a monster who is all about change and evolution, mutating and mutating throughout the movie in order to better face each threat that it comes across. And while it might not have started out as that impressive, by the end of the movie, Shin Godzilla was evolving into an absolute monster, able to easily take on the military and destroy whole cities in his wake. And if Shin Godzilla had continued along that path, well, it probably would have evolved into the most powerful Godzilla here, and maybe could have transcended anything we've ever seen Godzilla do before. However, it didn't really work like that, so we can't solely rank him on just potential. Plus, each evolution is extremely draining and taxing. Even using his atomic breath is enough to nearly drain him completely of energy. This version of Godzilla is a lot like pretty much every other version of Godzilla. Incredibly strong and powerful, able to easily terrorize cities, and pretty much completely immune to any attack the military can throw his way. However, what does set this version of Godzilla apart would probably be his atomic breath. Instead of blue, it's orange, and appears to be more fire-based. Pretty much every time it's used, it sets off a fiery explosion, produces an immense amount of heat. He can also release a nuclear pulse, where all that energy is shot out from all over his body, completely obliterating anything in its path. Another thing that sets Millennium Godzilla apart is his healing factor. Godzilla's cells contain something called Regenerator G1, and that's what allows Godzilla's body to completely regenerate from any attack, most of the time doing it pretty much instantly. One of the most powerful and most evil monsters ever born, Space Godzilla is the twisted combination of Biollante, Godzilla, and some space crystals all merged together in the middle of a black hole. Said to contain the power of an exploding sun, Space Godzilla is able to easily tear through other monsters in his way and even trade blows with Godzilla himself. And it's not just physical strength and power. Space Godzilla is incredibly unique and has a ton of abilities that the normal Godzilla could only ever dream of. Like for starters, telekinesis. He can create shields around him, absorb energy. He can even fly. Space Godzilla is incredibly powerful, and like we said, is one of the most powerful monsters Godzilla's ever faced. Heisei Godzilla is almost a primal force of nature in these movies, and nothing is going to stand in his way. He's able to fight against and smash up any other kaiju that crosses his path, even throwing hits so powerful that they're able to cause earthquakes and trigger volcanoes just as a side effect of the attack. He's able to either take any attack that comes his way or heal from any injury. His individual cells are so durable that they're even able to survive black holes. That's what led to the creation of Space Godzilla in the first place. His heat beam is incredibly powerful. Even more powerful than that is the Spiral Ray, able to completely decimate monsters who were able to previously take the regular atomic blast. Godzilla can also unleash destructive nuclear pulses, and can even trigger a burning mode where he was threatening to literally destroy the planet, although also destroying himself in the process. This powerful version of Godzilla is the ancient ruler of all the Titans, basically acting as the one who brings balance between the Titans, nature, and man. He's easily one of the biggest and strongest versions of Godzilla. He himself weighs almost 100,000 tons. He's able to throw around other 100,000-ton monsters like it's nothing. He's taken nuclear bomb after nuclear bomb. He's survived the Oxygen Destroyer, being dropped from literally the edge of the atmosphere in outer space. Godzilla's even taken extinction-level events before, and none of it has put him down. His atomic breath is able to destroy pretty much everything in its path. No monster is really able to stand up against it, and it's so powerful that Godzilla is even able to quickly burn his way down to the center of the Earth. Then of course, if Godzilla does go into fire mode, well, it becomes infinitely more powerful and is able to completely foderize monsters like King Ghidorah, who were giving him an incredibly hard time in the past. This version of Godzilla is literally a god, created by the Earth itself in order to drive off humanity. Godzilla successfully does that, clearing the planet of kaiju as well, and for the next 20,000 years, it mutates and transforms, becoming one with the Earth in the process. This version of Godzilla is absolutely massive, easily one of the biggest versions of Godzilla we've ever seen. He's as strong and tough as essentially the Earth itself. He has an incredible regenerative ability, and on top of all that, has an electromagnetic shield so that most attacks never even touch him. He's also got some seriously powerful atomic attacks that can destroy almost anything in his path and obliterate it to atoms. This version of Godzilla is, you guessed it, a version of Godzilla from a brief run in Marvel Comics, where he was incredibly powerful and had a good many fights with different superheroes and even whole superhero teams. I mean, Marvel Godzilla basically one-shotted the Hulk in the first issue just by stepping on him. From there, it was able to match up against Thor, and stalemated Thor in power and injured Thor with his attacks. And let me tell you, fighting against Thor and Hulk is plenty more powerful than pretty much any other kaiju Godzilla can go up against. It's incredibly impressive. Here we've got Final Wars Godzilla, where Godzilla basically fought against each and every one of his monster enemies and beat them all with ease. He's incredibly strong and tough, to the point where he can easily destroy pretty much any monster that crossed his path and take attacks from several different monsters all at the same time. His atomic breath and atomic attacks are also incredibly powerful. He can take down some monsters with just one blast. But not just that, but this Godzilla was able to blast a planet-destroying meteor of a mass of 62,000 times the mass of the Earth and destroy it. Easily one of the best feats we've ever seen from Godzilla. This version of Godzilla is unique. It's a higher dimensional being who's mutated and adapted to our dimension, all while simultaneously trying to destroy our dimension in the process. So while this Godzilla might seem like a normal Godzilla at first, he's really anything but. Sure, he's able to destroy buildings and take all sorts of attacks, but I mean, he's from another dimension altogether. Even his atomic breath is unique. It's not actually atomic breath, but a closed, time-like curved molecular laser. Basically, multiple beams from the future come back to the past and are greatly amplified in the process. Godzilla is also able to dispel red dust, otherwise known as archetype, something that's able to pull photons from the future into the present, bending time, space, and the laws of physics in the process. Godzilla himself is a singularity for this archetype, so he could basically destroy the universe and lead to where the future itself doesn't exist. And Godzilla really doesn't care if he does that. In fact, his true form is even larger than the universe. And if he tried to enter the universe in his true form, well, the universe would be destroyed. Then finally, last but not least, IDW Comics Godzilla. And let me tell you, this version of Godzilla is seriously powerful. I mean, it's like Final Wars Godzilla all over again. Godzilla can legitimately fight against any kaiju that comes his way and just completely destroy it. No question about it, this Godzilla could absolutely run the gauntlet. And it doesn't stop there. It also fought against the entire pantheon of Greek gods, just like Kratos did, and beat all of them, fighting the literal universal concepts of war, of weather, the sun, and the stars. He beat all of them. And again, it doesn't stop there, because Godzilla also went down to hell itself and absolutely wrecked shop down there, destroying cities that were supposed to be impossible to destroy, breaking through walls that were supposed to be impenetrable. Godzilla easily did it. He fought against hell-empowered monsters like Space Godzilla, King Ghidorah, and others, beat them all. He even became empowered by God, literally God, and in turn, Godzilla used that power to then kill God and become God himself. This Godzilla literally became God. No question, it's the most powerful version of Godzilla you're ever gonna see. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.